Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Fearless and Fabulous podcast. It is our space where women can thrive no matter their age or size. And I am really excited today. Just before we get started, I'll introduce myself to anyone who is new to the podcast. I am Melanie Robinson. I am the host and creator, and I'm also the reigning Ms. Voluptuous International. And today, I got another international queen. I've got the amazing, the fabulous Lorraine from Canada. Say hello, hello, Lorraine.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Melanie.
Thank you so much for being here with me. And I just want to let everyone know that Lorraine and I just kind of became connected through a pageant that I was judging. And I have to tell you all that her message, her energy, her attitude was exactly what I was looking for as a woman to talk about her journey on this podcast. And I'm so glad you could join us. And I just wanted you to introduce yourself a bit and what makes Lorraine Lorraine.
Thanks, Melanie. Yeah, at the outset, before we recorded, I had forgotten how we met. But yes, winning that pageant was wonderful, and connecting with you has been awesome. So, who am I? Well, I'm actually approaching my 60th birthday. So I've been thinking a lot about who I am now. And it's interesting, age has a way of taking you back to
Mhm.
inspect areas of your life from much younger years and what that all means. And who I am is probably not what a lot of people think I am, because everybody always thinks that I'm so overly confident and that I do all these things that I do with such ease because I have this organic confidence, but that is not the case.
Mm.
And, the impetus for my passion for inspiring and supporting girls and women to be the best they can be comes from a fairly not great place.
Oh,
And I am going to start talking about those things a little bit more. Um, but yeah, I had a horrible time all through my school years. I mean, just indescribable. It was from K to 12 was just awful. It was not a good experience for me. I had one bad teacher after another, and just, bullied, but not by kids. I had awful experiences with teachers, and that shaped me to the point where in grade 12, I felt like I had no choice but to quit school, quit on
mm.
myself, leave. And so my love of helping girls and women to not quit on themselves, to never take their eye off their goals and dreams, comes from this place where I felt alone, unsupported, and like I had no choice but to quit. And so that drives me to this day.
I find it really amazing how a lot of women, when they faced a lot of the toughest parts in their lives, it really has shaped them. And they have found a way to come through that pain, that challenge, and they find a way to inspire others. And those who do, someone like yourself, you have defied the norms, especially when it comes to pageantry and aging in general. You were placed top 15 at Miss Universe Canada, and you were not a 20 something then either. Can you tell us about what led you to that and what that process was like for you?
It still makes me a little emotional in a really good, happy way. So I did my first pageant when I was 15. And again, I won Miss Great Lakes in New York when I was 19. And I was in Toronto trying to kick off my modeling career. That was in the early 80s. Then I took a long hiatus because life happened and I had family. And then I got back in my late 30s, and I just hit the gas pedal and just kept going. So I have 6 titles and 9 pageants. Miss Universe Canada was my ninth. And I was watching Miss Universe in 2023 when they announced that they were bringing down the upper age limits, and any woman could apply in their respective country to compete.
Yeah.
I did not waste any time. I went and I applied, and I had the interview and went through the vetting process, all of that, and was accepted, and went for the week of the competition. And the finals was a day before my 59th birthday. And
Wow.
Yeah. And I can't even tell you, you know, some people have asked me, what was your most memorable moment of that whole week? And I'll tell you, Melanie, standing on that stage with 19 other girls, 14 if you count just the top 15, in our swimwear.
Yeah.
That is an indelible moment in my mind because I was on average 40 years older than every other competitor there. By and large, there were a couple in their 30s, one in their 40s, but by and large, they were 20-year-olds. And here I was in the top 15. So to have that kind of impact that I've realized afterwards that I've had, with messages coming into me from women all over the world saying how watching me prepare, watching my posts, and then watching me in prelims and finals, which was broadcast, some women have said, because of you, I'm going to nursing at 55. Because of you,
Yes.
you know, and that the gifts that competing at Miss Universe Canada have given me beyond making the top 15, I could never have predicted or scripted or planned it that way. You know, they asked
Mm.
me to then become the director for Atlantic Canada. So I have all of New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland, Labrador as the director. And the director, Sonny, told me, he said, I don't think you know the impact you had long after you left. So it has opened up this door to allow me to further amplify my message to women that if you have a dream, don't dull it down, don't make
Yeah.
it so that it seems like it's doable and achievable. Keep your big dreams and just keep moving forward. And you don't know the time or the place when it will start coming to you.
Oh, absolutely. And I have a saying that I live by is if you can't see her, you can't be her. And the fact that you decided just to bet on yourself and go for a title, which a lot of women would have been very intimidated to do, turning 59,
Yeah.
you inspired so many women to say, okay, well, what's the excuse I have now? I have no excuse to go after what I want. And I think that's one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough, what pageantry can do, is that
No.
when we see someone doing something that is so out of the box for someone who is in her 50s and beyond, that it inspires a whole new generation of what's possible.
Yeah, you know, we listen to society and we get conned into putting ourselves, just as women in general, into this one little box, you know.
Mhm.
Oh, if you're a businesswoman, oh, you can't be sexy and provocative and funny and whimsical. No, you're in this box. You're a
Yeah.
businesswoman. Stay there. If you are, you know, provocative and sexy, well, then you can't be intelligent. Stay in that little provocative, sexy box. And I love talking about, I'm a very eclectic personality and I am a businesswoman. My husband and I have built a multi-million-dollar company over 35 years, and we're starting to enjoy the spoils of that now in our beautiful lake house. I've built my own small business over the years while raising three amazing kids who I've proven I've done a decent job. They're all good contributing adults now, so the guesswork is over as to how that turns out. So we aren't this one-dimensional being as a woman. We can
Mhm.
wear many hats. And so I'm getting to a point here about pageantry. You know, it is still shrouded in so much misconception, right? You still see the memes of the girl who just gives that answer to an onstage question that just makes the whole world cringe. But that is such a one-off. You
Mhm.
know, pageantry makes you reach for the best of yourself across all aspects of your personality and abilities. You have to be an eloquent speaker. You
Right.
have to have grace and poise on stage. You have to be able to think quick on your feet. You have to be able to answer impromptu questions if you're going to do well, as you know, in the interview process. then you have to be able to put together a wardrobe that is appropriate to where you're going and how you're being seen. You have to be able to do your own makeup in a way that looks good. So it's this whole package that includes way more than just how you look or walking across the stage. And that's a message that I drive home every chance that I get.
And I think that is something that doesn't get shown enough. And as a title holder, I've been trying to be very cognizant of that online. Being It's not just about the pretty selfies you put up. It's having a strong message and showing what all it takes to be an example, to be a leader. And that's the way I look at having a title or even just going into a pageant because, let's face it, the crown shouldn't be the end all be all of what we do in pageantry. It's great, right? We love having that beautiful shiny thing on our heads, but it doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
It's a means to get you to the next place. And so, Lorraine, I want to ask you, as someone who is an elder title holder, um, what does having a title do for you now? Like, what is the difference between the pageants that you've done in the past versus what you're doing now? Because you are currently going for Galaxy Canada.
Yes, yes. So here's the thing. I'm at this perfect point in my life now, Melanie, and I really wish this for every woman. I'll be 60 in a few weeks. I've already lost some of my friends. They didn't make it as far as I did. So I feel immensely grateful. I love aging because the flip side of that is being dead. So when people say, how do you feel about aging? I'm like, well, what you're really asking me is, am I happy to still be alive? I think the answer is yes. Yes, I am. So what it means to me now, looking ahead to Mrs. Galaxy, and I am doubling down with everything I have to win that title because I've built a following from Miss Universe Canada. I'm very strong on what my platform is. And now that I'm sort of sliding into semi-retirement, I have more disposable time. I have I have enough money. Like I'm not chasing stuff anymore. So now the work that I've done for 40 years, either part-time or full-time, sometimes I'm all in. And
Yeah.
so Mrs. Galaxy would allow me to have that big platform. I mean, Galaxy is an international system. If I win Canada, that in and of itself is even amplifying my reach, amplifying my message, and I can really make a bigger, broader impact on girls and women, but most notably on older women. My message is it doesn't matter. Age is such a non-starter. It doesn't matter. So that's what, having the title currently of the Real Queen United Ambassador, that also makes me feel very honored to represent that as an ambassador, as somebody who is out there talking about women, empowering women to be the best they can be. Don't leave your dreams on the table. If
Yeah.
so yeah, the crown is nice. Let's face it, us pageant girls do pageants because there is that element of glamour that draws us to it.
Exactly.
And there's nothing wrong with that. That is
Yeah.
another piece. I always say that when people don't get pageants, I say, well, if you look at sports people, that is an outlet for them.
Hmm.
And sports figures, once they get to be really well known, they have this amazing opportunity to use sports as the way to amplify what they care about, what they raise
Exactly.
money for, who they advocate for. Same as people who do well in the arts, acting, singing, dancing. And then, pageantry is the very same thing. Yes, there's the glamour component. Yes, there's the crowning of the queen, but behind that, there is more to her. Who does she advocate for? What does she care about? What does she do in her community? And people ask me all the time, do you think that pageants, aren't they antiquated and hasn't their time come to an end? I'm like, we need them now more than ever.
Yeah.
If you think about teaching young girls and women to, dig deeper into knowing who they are. Oh, by the way, it's really important to do things for your community and think about something bigger than yourself. Are they not great lessons?
Yeah. And and the thing is, let's be honest. Not every girl wants to do a pageant, and that's totally expected. Not everybody wants to do that. But I think you've touched on something that is really important is I think every girl, every woman needs to have a strong sense of who she is and what she wants to do in life and how she's going to reach others, giving back to her community. So there are definitely lessons that we as pageant women can teach other women and girls about that. Even without them having to enter a pageant to learn these things, we can be those examples for them.
Exactly. I'm just a catalyst for confidence. I've done it my entire life, for 40 years. It started when I finished, modeling in Toronto and Montreal when I was very young. When I came back to New Brunswick, I immediately started teaching self-improvement classes to teenage girls in the small town that I'm from. So right from the get-go, as soon as I started to learn tricks of the trade
Mhm.
modeling back then that made me a better person or made me more confident, I started teaching it to other girls. Then I went on, in my mid-20s, I had a very long fitness career. I was highly trained, a personal trainer in Canadian standards and a certified wellness coach. So I spent 25 years, Melanie,
Mhm.
using my expertise in fitness, nutrition, just well-being and mindset to inspire and help women to, be the best they can be in that regard. So I have used my skills and my training and my expertise my whole life to be a catalyst for women being the best they can be. And then once I picked up pageantry again, like I said, in my late 30s and just hit the gas pedal, I've been more and more using pageantry as that um, message deliverer to women and girls of, don't let fear stop you.
Right.
Fear and doubt, fear and doubt kill manifesting where you're really supposed to go and who you're really supposed to be. And I see it in women all the time that they're just stunting their success
Mm.
because they're scared.
Oh, I got the feeling in my body when you said that because you hit it so hard when you said that. One of the things that I try to get across during these podcasts is that it's okay to be scared of something. We're human beings. We're going to have fears, but it's how we approach those fears and finding our way through it is, I think, the main purpose of this, and especially for women, because I think too often we are conditioned to not speak out, to not take up space, to be overly concerned what others think. And I think that is the main reason so many women don't go after what they want to do because of that outside conditioning of don't be too much, don't say what you think, don't live out the dreams you want to do. And I want to ask you, Lorraine, because I mean, my goodness, you have such an amazing background in so many things. What is something that you had to conquer? What's a fear that you had to get out of your way in order for you to push forward and be a stronger version of yourself?
There's so many things, Melanie, because like I say, I'm old now. I'm old as dirt. I have done a lot and I've pushed a lot of envelopes from the very beginning. So if I go back to, being a little girl, being raised in a little border town with, like 3,000 people, and I always wanted to be a model. And there was no plan B. I was going to pursue that. So I, according to my agency, back in the day, circa 1983, Marguerite Bant was in St. Catharines, Ontario, same modeling school that Linda Evangelista went to.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but I was never going to be a runway model. I was 5'6". And according to Marguerite at the time, I was the first full figure model in Canada. Yeah, I was a size 16. I was always big in my youth.
Okay.
So And the interesting thing about how our mind works is I had this limiting belief that that was my lot in life. That's who I was. That's how I was. My whole life I heard, oh, she's so pretty. No one ever talked about my weight. Oh, she's big boned. Oh, she's got a big structure, right?
Yeah.
The interesting thing is I I was not so much unhappy with how I was up to age 23. And like I say, I had some, minimal, I would call it minimal success if we're talking about real success in modeling. I had minimal success, but I worked at it. And when I hit about age 24, I just remember being very honest with myself. And I realized that I was not expressing myself fully. For me, that size and that weight was holding me back. I wasn't acting in a way that was completely unrestrained because I was like, but what if they call me out for that? Right? I wasn't confident. I did not have the 100% gas pedal to the floor, say what I want, do what I really want to do, dress how I really would like to dress because of the size I was. So at age 25, I embarked on losing that weight. I lost 40 pounds and got down to to a size I was comfortable with, basically kind of the same size I am now, like a size 8. And overcoming that allowed me to be authentic. Everybody has a different way of moving in the world that is their comfort zone. It's
Right.
different. It's different for everybody. But for me, being at a size where I could wear what I wanted that best matched my personality and how I wanted the world to see me was a big one because I am very much a fashion girl. And just being able to embark physically on things that I wanted to. So that was a big one. Being able to transition, being able to change my own idea of who I was by losing that weight and really getting to a point where I felt like, okay, now the outside Lorraine matches the inside Lorraine. And that's really big.
Yeah.
That's really big. A lot of women are coming in under the bar, playing it safe, almost like nothing to see over here, people. And it could be weight, it could be wanting to be educated, like it could be any number of things. But I'm a really big advocate of if you are not happy with the way you're moving in this world, change it.
Yeah.
Change it.
Absolutely.
Bad relationships, change it. Baggage, revisit it and figure it out. Like don't just give up. And women our age are giving up. They're going off into the shadows. Yeah, so I hope I answered your question about something that I had to overcome. That was a big one. That was going back to, my 20s. But competing as a bodybuilder, another big one. Again, I broke barriers. My first opportunity to compete as a bodybuilder was when I was 42 and just had my third baby. That was my first window of opportunity.
Wow.
And I won, yeah. So that was another, moment. Was I confident stepping out in a little bikini that was delivered in a baggie? No, no, I wasn't. When you're shaking so bad, you're sure the audience can see.
You're right.
Yes, that. But I did it.
But you did it.
And again, that was a highlight of my life. I had always wanted to do that. And the thing about pushing through your fears and doing stuff that scares the literal life out of you is that it now sets a new bar. That's what people don't understand, especially I get so upset when I see parents letting children quit just because they're scared. You've just set the bar that says, oh, this is as high as I can go, because when I get here and I get really scared, I walk away. When you walk through the fear and you just say, I am scared to death, but I'm just doing it. And then now the bar is set higher because you've just broken through another level of fear. And now you're like, oh, if I did this, okay, now this really scares me too, but I think I can do it too. Yeah, you can't build confidence any other way but to do things that scare you to death. And then you have a little moniker more confidence than you did before you did it. And you sure as hell have more than if you had quit.
And, I think you made a really good point about, letting kids quit because they're scared. Um, I think it's so important to let them face that fear and go through it. And they still don't like the thing, fine. But
Right.
facing the fear of it, I think when you allow them to stop because they're scared of it, that's going to be a pattern throughout their whole life. I'm too
100%.
scared of it, so I'm not going to do it.
My middle child, Rachel, she'll kill me for naming her. But my middle child, Rachel, she was that kid. As soon as she reached a point of discomfort, she was out. And she would cause all kinds of trouble just to be able to get out of this situation. And so I pegged that about her very early. So she was actually going through lifeguard training and she was, going right along, no issues, no issues. Then it came to the day where they had to do, I think it's called the brick test. Part of the
Mm.
training is they have to throw a brick to the bottom of the Olympic deep end and go down and retrieve it like it's a body, come back up. That was her ceiling. She come home, she had every excuse. The instructor's this, the people are that. I'm not doing this anymore. So I let her have her little moment. And then I went up to her room and I said, listen, we can brainstorm any ideas at all. Let's just throw everything at the wall of how you can get through this. But quitting is not an option.
Mm.
And that was a changing moment right there, a changing moment. And she went on, she passed, she had a great lifeguard career all through school. And if I had let her quit once again, I promise you that would still be a theme in her life. When it gets
Yeah.
hard, quit and blame it on other people, blame it on
Mm.
circumstances, right? We see that
Yeah.
so often these days, excuses, excuses, excuses. This is where I might sound like an old hard ass, but I don't do excuses. You either do or you do not.
Right. And it's okay if you fail at it. That's fine.
You're going to fail. Thank you for bringing that up. You're
Yeah.
going to fail.
Yeah. You learn so much through failure too. And I think that's also important, when we're talking about going for goals, is that you're not always going to get it the first time. And that's okay. Sometimes that timing isn't right. And I wanted to make sure, we also talk about, because we have just a few minutes left, but you said you had something you wanted to reveal that you're working on. So let's talk about that a bit.
Okay. So from 40 years ago up to the present, I've, really been big on inspiring women to just be the best they can be. That's kind of been my thing. And as I go into Mrs. Galaxy and as I have this idea of just really expanding on the impact and the reach that I have, I want to move women away from saying, oh, you inspire me, or oh, watching you is so inspiring. I want to move them from being inspired to being mobilized to do something, right?
Yes.
Don't just look at me and say you're inspired by me now. Okay, how do we make this about you? So I have this initiative that I came up with called BOLD: believe, overcome, live, and do.
Love
Very
it.
simple. It's very simple. It's going to be 3 steps for people to take advantage of this. They're going to DM me with their dream or goal that they have pushed aside for far too long because they were either scared or they just had excuses or whatever. So they're going to DM me with their dream or goal.
Okay.
Then they're going to work with me for free. I am a highly trained coach. They're not going to pay me. They're going to work with me free of charge to come up with what is their first step towards that goal or dream. And then number 3 is they're going to allow us to share their success.
Fantastic. Oh, I love that initiative, bold. I mean, it just says so much. It says so much and it's actionable. And I know it's going to, like, Makes some people excited, but it's going to scare them to death, which is good.
That's the good part. You got to
That's
be
what you need to
scared.
do, is that you need to work through that fear of it
If
and
goals,
just
I
go
had
for
a
it.
professor one time when I was taking my wellness certification, and he was from Stanford actually, and he said goals should be big, hairy, and audacious. Like
Mhm.
they should just be these big, hairy things that scare the pants off you. They really should.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it shouldn't stop you. That can't be the point where you stop. That's the point where you hit the gas and you just go.
Mm. And on that, I think that's a mic drop moment right there. And unfortunately, I mean, these 30 minutes have flown by so fast,
They
and I
have.
hope we can do a part two later on.
I would love to. And if any of the people that watch you, Melanie, because I know you have a big following, if they want to be the first people through the door for the bold uprising, send them my way.
I have no doubt people will be going your way and learning how to be bold, and through our chat, learning how to be fearless and fabulous as well. And that's what we need. We need more female leaders. We need more women taking up space and sitting at the seats. And that's what I know you are looking forward to. That's what I'm looking forward to. And I cannot thank you enough for joining me today. You have definitely given so much insight and so much passion and inspiration. And I hope it will, get people to want to take action on their dreams.
I hope so too. Thanks so much, Melanie, for asking me.
And I will link all your socials to this video as well.
Great. I appreciate it.
And thank you all for joining us at the Fearless and Fabulous podcast. Please follow our guests. Please check out prior episodes and like, subscribe, comment, share an episode with a friend who needs to hear the message. And stay fearless and stay fabulous. Bye now.